So my name's Christofi. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Reventon. Long story short, I did door-to-door when I came to Australia. I did telemarketing. I worked at fast-way couriers, selling tickets. And every job I went to, I would always ask the same question: who's the best person here? And I can name them all.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned?
Everything's very, very tough. The worst part of the story is my son on my side. I was gambling a lot, partying a lot, everything just really happened fast and I didn't have time to catch it.
What was a driving factor to you being successful? Because so many people in that age, at 18, you're still relatively young and influent.
You're a kid.
Always was in close proximity to champions. And I knew in sales, I was very, very good. I spent so much money educating myself to get better. And the funny thing is, the things they were teaching me, I was doing instinctively as a 10-year-old kid.
Do you think that's helped you a lot in your career?
It's a human-to-human connection. I don't think anyone, or there was one person that walked the earth that's greater than everyone else. But everyone else were the same. We're all human beings. No one's better than me. And conversely, I'm better than no one.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to $1 Million Days. Hope you're having $1 Million Day. We are joined by a special guest today, Christofi. Thank you very much for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Chris, I've been a follower of your journey for, I would say, I wish I could look it up and find out when I actually first started following you on LinkedIn. But I would say back in my real estate days, probably 2016, 2017.
Wow.
When did your book come out?
My book? I think about 2019.
2019.
Something
okay.
like that. 2019, 2020. It was I had 3 weeks off at the end of the year. And obviously I can't stay still, having ADHD. So I researched a bunch of writers. I found one that I liked that I gelled with in Budapest. And he goes, I'll help you write a book. I said, fly over though. If we're going to do it, it's got to be properly. And he shadowed me and lived with me, following me, writing the book with me, because there's no chance I'm going to write that many pages and stuff. Then after he wrote the book, then I had a lady who does my, at the time, HR name was Lisa. She reread the book to me while I'm walking around pacing through the office, and I'm making all my changes as well. So 3 weeks, I thought, when I'm off, why don't I write a book? But I actually wrote 2 books, but I never published the other one. I didn't like it enough to publish it. That's how Brick by Brick was born.
Oh, yeah, nice. That's a pretty cool story. We'll get into that, I'm sure. But for those of who may not have heard of you before, do you want to give us a little bit of a spiel about yourself and what you do?
So my name's Christofi. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Reventon. This year we celebrate our 20 years in business, which is a very, very big milestone.
Yeah,
something
huge
we're very
milestone.
proud of. So back in the day, I started in real estate. I was about 19, 20, bought my first piece of real estate, fell in love with the process, bought 2, bought 3, bought 4. I bought 8 properties. I was maybe 23. I was a national manager of a company, had about 17, 18 reps across a few states. That company I was working for into receivership, owed me 780 grand, didn't pay me.
Owed you that much?
Because
Wow.
I always wanted to start my own business. I think I mentioned it within the first month when I got hired in that industry. And just before I was about to leave, he said, find me someone as good as you, my ex-boss. So
I'll get you to just pull the mic a little bit closer as well, please, Chris.
I trained my brother, my older brother, for about a year. And as I was about to exit, he said, I want to set up franchises for $250,000. I'm going to give you one for free. Stay with me, because you knew that I'm a home run. I know the business very well. I buy the leads and I make most of the profit.
This is the person you were working for at the time?
Yeah. So
Okay.
he was the first person that interviewed me. So when I got the job, I remember back, I was in sales. So I've been selling stuff since I was 10 years old. I love sales. In Cyprus, I was 10 and my uncle would sell scratch tickets. He'd give me 32 tickets on consignment. I had to pay him for 32 as my profits. On the weekend when I wasn't at school, I was selling. And he had about 6, 7 reps and I could outsell all of them. And I was only a kid. But my secret was I'd speak to everyone. I'd joke with everyone. I'd walk up and there was sheets of 5 scratchies. I'd say, buy a ticket, it's a lucky one. And they go, I'll have one, Chris. I go, there's only 2 left to buy them. It's the last ones. I'd buy them. Then I'll take my other sheet out. They go, Chris, you said the last ones. I go, that sheet, I got more.
Yeah.
So I got a good rapport with everyone. They'd see me come and they'd laugh and they'd buy more tickets. And 3 months when I was off school, because Cyprus is very hot, I lived in Cyprus from 9 to 16, I was working more regularly because I wanted to make more money. Then I got into pool when I was about 13, so 8 ball, started hustling, making money there. So in Cyprus, I was always either playing pool or working. It was always what I wanted to do. So anyway, long story short, I did door to door when I came to Australia. I did telemarketing. I worked at Fastway Couriers selling tickets. And every job I went to, I would always ask the same question: who's the best person here? And I can name them all. Barry was the best at Holiday Concepts. Colin was the best at Fastway Couriers. Valeria and Duncan were the best at In-Homes. And the reason I remember their name is I said, can I spend 1 week with them? So I'd found out who the best salesperson is and I'd shadow them.
And how old were you at this stage?
About 18, 19. So I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was studying full-time, Broadmeadows TAFE. It's the only thing I could get into at tech. And I was trying to become a professional snooker player, which I did for many years. And I was fighting as well. I had 7 fights at the time. My brother's a pro fighter. So I was doing a bit of everything because I like to keep busy, as I said before. So my partner at the time, who I had a son with, saw an ad. It said 120K plus sales professionals wanted. Do you have a card? Do you have a phone? Do you have a fax? She cut it out from the paper. Back then it was paper. And she goes, you should call this. It sounds like you. So I called the number. Lady by the name of Robin answered. She was the EA to the owner or to the 2IC, Jason Paris at the time. And as I'm talking, she goes, how old are you? I said, I'm 19. She goes, you're too young. Don't hang up the phone. Don't hang up the phone. Let me come in. Let him say no to my face. Don't hang up the phone, please, Robin. She said, sure. So Trent, who was my ex-boss, I did an interview with him and another guy. He probably thought, I'm not going to interview a 19-year-old on my own because he's probably going to waste my time. He's 19. It's too young. After he pitched me, he said to me, Chris, what do you think? I said, I'll be honest with you. I don't know the difference between commercial or residential real estate, but if you give me a chance, I'll be your best guy in 3 months. He said, sure. I worked relentlessly. I studied sales intensely. And all I was doing at the time was introducing clients or prospective buyers to the office where they were meeting a mortgage broker and a property consultant. So my job was to book them, to get them, charge them $330 on the weekend, $275 Monday to Friday, and get them in there open-minded. Their job was to help them with finance and sell them a piece of real estate. So I loved that. And that's when I kept buying real estate. My original manager who hired me started his own company and wanted me to be his national manager. So that's how I got that gig. When that company went into receivership, because I had a franchise at the time, he owed me so much money. That's why he owed me 780 grand. So I had 8 properties, was making hundreds of thousands. I've got no job now. Everything's very, very tough. The worst part of the story is my son almost died. He got bacterial meningitis. I was hospitalized for 2.5 weeks.
He was or you were?
My son.
Yeah, your son was, yeah.
He's got 2 bionic implants now. So my son's a profound deaf. So when all this happened, within the space of 1 year, the company went into receivership. I lost my income. 8 properties were sold, liquidated. I was gambling a lot, partying a lot, everything. Everything just really happened fast and I didn't have time to catch it. I moved back into my parents' house and ended up with a debt of 348 grand. So if you look at my first office, Reventon, it's basically my parents' living room. There was a fax, an old computer. So there's online. It's very well documented, and I've got it in my office, my first office. But back then, the goal was to become a fully integrated financial services company across all platforms. So 20 years later, we achieved that. So we've helped now 10,000 clients. We've sold 3,500 properties, which is 3.45 billion in sales, over $1 billion under assets, under management. We had over 500 reviews, featured in 150 publications, won close to 60 industry awards, wrote that Amazon best-selling book, Your Path to Wealth Brick by Brick, and we're able to open property, finance, accounting, financial planning, and property management. So we did integrate it. We did exactly what we were going to do 20 years ago. Obviously, it wasn't the same. We built the team to like close to 80. But the first few years were very, very good because it's what shaped me and the business to grow into what it is now.
Fantastic. Couple of things there.
What a journey for a start.
Yeah. I liked when you said that at 18 years old, it's very rare. I find it's rare now, and it probably is back then too, for an 18-year-old to have so much self-awareness and that drive to say, hey, give me a chance. Hey, let me see who is the best person in this room. I want to shadow them. I don't feel, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be different in your space too. do you get many youngsters coming up like that? And do you feel that that was unique to you and what was a driving factor to you being successful? Because so many people in that age, at 18, you're still relatively young and influenced.
You're a
and
kid.
Yeah, you're influenced
Yep.
by those other around you.
I
And
think you
probably
hit the
don't have
nail on
that
the head,
drive.
though. Your influence on who around you. So I mentioned before that I did snooker. My friends were the best players this country's ever seen or produced. I grew up, I represented Victoria 5 times in the under 18s and under 21s. I was number 2 and 3 in the state.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Neil Robinson. If you look this kid up, he's the most successful non-British player of all time. He's won 24 ranking events. He's a 2010 world champion. This year, he got awarded an Australian Award of Merit for his services to snooker. Lives in Cambridge. We're talking a freak, one of the best players to ever pick up a cue. He was one of my closest friends. When I was fighting, I always hanged around world champions. When I
Martial
was
arts?
training, kickboxing.
Kickboxing, yeah.
So my brother's a Commonwealth and 2-time Australian champion. So the people that I mentioned prior to this was on my podcast, Sam Groko, Sam Solomon. So if you see the bump on my nose, back before Sam Solomon was a 3-time world boxing champion, he was actually a world kickboxing champion. So he kicked me in the face when we were sparring and broke my nose. That was one of the times it was broken. So I always was in close proximity to champions. And I knew in sales, I was very, very good. I was very, very hardworking, but I knew how much I needed to learn. So I would still study sales till today. And I'm doing all these courses. You name it, I did it. Back then, from Anthony Robbins to Brian Tracy to Tom Hopkins, I spent so much money educating myself to get better. And the funny thing is, the things they were teaching me, I was doing instinctively as a 10-year-old kid.
Yep.
Now, I wasn't as refined, I wasn't as good, but I just gave things a go. I wasn't scared of failing. And I think my biggest strength was I was never intimidated to speak to anyone, even as a 10-year-old, because I always saw someone, it's a human-to-human connection. I don't think anyone, or there was one person that walked the earth that's greater than everyone else. But everyone else were the same. We're all human beings. No one's better than me. And conversely, I'm better than no one. I always had that mentality. I didn't care who it was, whatever field they were. And I always made it my business to know who's good at something, because if I learn from them and I incorporate that into my selling style was relentless. My follow-up was great. And I had a lot of conviction in what I was saying. I was just a good closer.
Yeah, good, important. That's highly important.
But other people are different. They're really funny and they can close. Other people, there's no wrong or right, but there's lessons in all of them. And I think when you look at old school sales, those philosophies of understanding how to uncover a client's challenge, provide a solution, and to really ask the right questions. You're not going in there as a salesman, you're going in there like a specialist to really dig. And I usually, this analogy, I came up with like a training methodology I use for my staff, and I used to call it 3-4 deep. And they said, what is that? Imagine you go to a dentist, they go, where's the nerve? They said, it's underneath. So you got to go 3-4 deep. And what that means, you've got to ask 3-4 questions to get to that nerve and to really unpack, why is this person going to proceed? Why haven't they proceeded before, and what would stop them? So I was very good. And when they would ask me, how good are you, when I was closing better than anyone, I got asked that question, 1 to 10, where would you rate your abilities? And I said 2. And they said, why? I go, because there's so much more I need to learn. There was people that were closing at 70%. I had a 93, 94% quarter, booked 53 clients in a row, and I was 20. I said, that's how much I want to learn. This person gave themselves, they were a 70% close or 75, somewhere in that range. They said they're about a 9 out of 10. And I thought, that's the difference right there. It's the ability to think, I'm already very, very good at what I do. Now, I knew I was good. My results indicated I was good, but how much better can I get? And that's what it was. I just used to work hard.
Do you find that now with your team? Do you have younger people that you employ as well?
I do.
So do you find the people coming up now, because there's all that talk in almost every industry, finding good people with, now the introduction of AI and the internet and all these things. It's a real leveler. People don't need to, I personally find that people don't have that drive as much to be successful in that space. Are you finding that's the case, or is it a little bit different?
It's very different. And I think what people are forgetting, or it's not as prevalent as it used to be, is communication skills. Exactly what we're doing now. Now, AI is great. I guess social media is great. I'm not a big fan, but I understand the purpose of it and where it fits into your business. It's a tool, spot on. But this old-fashioned ability to communicate and to converse will become a commoditizable thing you could sell.
Yeah.
Because people, it's a lot harder. But I think give me someone that's hungry, give me someone that's humble, give me someone that understands they need to learn all day long. Because for me, I knew that I had that as a kid. I knew that I wanted to work hard, but I always wanted to, where can I improve? How can I sharpen my ability? And the best way to do that, in my opinion, hang around great people that have a different mindset. So it all starts with mindset. Mindset creates, you think differently, you work differently, you train differently, you upskill differently. When you hang around people that are great at what they do, there's a lot of commonalities in any industry. So when I mentioned those people prior to this, I saw so many similar traits in them all. And I never try to emulate them. I tried to borrow things to put into my personality, because no one does you better than you. To be authentic, I know the things that I'm good at. But anyone that can close, I wanted to look at the process. And when I'd close successfully, I'd always say, could I have done it better? Could I have closed faster? And when I'd miss, which wasn't often, they were the ones that kept me up at night. I used to sometimes wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares about missing a client. Why won't you do it? And I used to role play with my partner and I'm pretending I'm a different person and practice because it's free. And I'll do things like that all the time, because I always thought, if I miss a client, I've done them a disservice. If I know that my service and my product is going to help them go from A to B, it is my job, it's my duty to take them across that journey.
100%.
So I saw that as an obligation of mine. And when I'd miss or let someone down, I took that to heart. I'd read my missed report that I'd write. Where did you miss? Did you break the pact properly? When did the challenges come out? Did you unpack it? Did you go deep enough there? And I'd always analyze my presentation, think, where could I have done it better? And if I booked it, could I have been more efficient? Could I have asked better questions? And I've done that even to now, and I'm 45. So I've been in sales since I was 10. So you're thinking it's 35 years of my life managing teams in my early 20s. It's a long time.
Is it something that came naturally to you, though? Do you feel like it was something you kind of just realized you were good at? Not to say that there weren't things that influenced you or, effort put in on your behalf, but sometimes you just find like, hey, I'm good at this thing.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
It was like walking to me. It was something I enjoyed, making people laugh, connecting. I love selling. I love closing. People say it's a dirty word. I think it's an amazing word. If you're selling the right product and you're providing a service, the amount of clients I've said that have said to me, Chris, if it wasn't for you, I never would have started investing. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have started building my wealth. All these beautiful messages I get from my clients, I go, that's why it's my job to get better at what I do. That's why I need to upskill. So, and even going back to what you said with, we do have a mixture of different ages, because we've got a property management division, we've got a sales division. And our sales, we like to teach our team from sales associate to become a BDM, to become a property investment strategist. So there's 3 stages in any part of the business. You go from a junior mortgage broker or to processor to a broker. There's always stages where they can keep improving and evolving. Now I say to them all, you go as fast as you want. If you want to sit here in this position, that's up to you. But if you want to be pushed and you want to grow, it's my job to do that. And sometimes people don't know that that's what they want to give them a bit of a nudge. And you can actually see who stands out. So I do a lot of things in the company where I do lunch and learns, I do masterminds. Some are compulsory, some are not.
Is this with your team?
Yeah. We did a Harvard course with one of our business advisors for 6 modules. And I want to see who shows up, the ones that are non-compulsory. I put zero pressure on them. But the ones that show up and the ones that try that extra mile, in my eye, I tick.
Yeah.
I want to spend more
Always
time
say
here.
You
I've got to groom that here. So with me, I was always self-motivated. So I was always going to get in there and do well, because there was no other option for me. I wanted to go in, I wanted to perform, and I wanted to and sales is where I found my niche.
Yeah, nice. I also heard you say something that stuck with me once. Might have been in your interview with Nick Bell, when you said when you're interviewing people, you don't ask them, that you don't give them a time. You just say whenever you can, and you base it on the response time. Like if they come back to you quickly, you're like, cool, they're quick, they're good, they're prompt, they didn't drag it on, and that really stuck with me as a way to see who's got that?
Do you want it?
Yeah,
Well, I
who's got the
shouldn't have
hunger,
to
right?
ask you. So me and Nick, I remember Nick, this is what I love. You got people like Nick who's a gun, right? He messages me, asks me a question. He needed something that I might be able to help him. I respond back, SMS. And I said to Nick, 7 messages, 4 minutes, done. Boom, 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 done. Because business likes speed.
Yeah.
Love
They don't
speed.
like, and also too, you figure it out. And when I deal with people like that, it makes it fun. It makes it exciting. He asks a question, back and forth, it was done, finished. Not by the time you dwell now. Not everyone's going to be like that. So very, very hard for me to understand. And as I get more mature, that everybody's different. And people that are like that are usually CEOs, or they're high up in the ranks, or they're national, whatever the case may be.
They're
Not
go-getters.
everyone's like that.
Go getters.
Yeah.
And make
so-
shit happen.
So that was very, very hard for me to accept, because I was not as lenient with slowness or not being as effective. But as I'm getting older, there's a room for everybody. It's just what role would you play, I guess.
Yeah. How did you find moving from, so my background being in real estate, I found that sometimes the best salesperson wouldn't necessarily be the best sales leader, right? Like they'd be a really good salesperson. They could close, they could do really well, but then put them in a leadership or management role and there would be some level of struggle, because then all of a sudden there's egos, there's clashing heads. They think they can do a better job. They don't necessarily know how to transfer the skills that they have. How did you find that?
I think very few great leaders are great managers. I think it's a rare breed to be both. And I'll share a story with you. I was always a great closer, and I remember during my journey, I had one of the most open-minded bosses. He was a phenomenal salesman. And he calls me up, and I'm doing finance at the time because I wanted to learn finance. I've got a full real estate license and a full finance. I wanted to understand each part of the process. So if I'm selling it, I wanted to be well-versed in each. So I went on a bit of a hiatus, and he calls me up and he goes, Chris, you need to come back. I go, why? He goes, and I never thought I'll ever hear the words that came out of his mouth. The team can't close and they're saying it's the leads. I said, are you serious? You're actually saying that to me? Wow. Have you been that brainwashed or negative? You're saying that to me. Stop wasting my time, man. Come on. Boom. A week later, he calls me back. Goes, Chris, you need to come back. I go, mate, I'm busy. I'm doing something. I wanted to finish my... Anyway, calls me back eventually. It was probably, 4 to 6 weeks. He's calling me, bugging me. I said, all right, I'll come, but you know the answer. You already know the answer before I come. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but you'd even got me curious. So I did 22 new leads. I was a bit rusty because I was out of the game. I closed 17. My usually close rate might be about 19, 20. I go to him, mate, what did you expect? He goes, come back and run the team. I said, sure, but if you come back, I'm running it my way. I said, okay. It was towards the end of the week. Monday I started. I said, I'm letting everybody go.
The whole team?
You're all gone. You can reapply for your job tomorrow. This is what I'm after or not. I'm starting from scratch. There might have been, it was a small team, 6, 7. I managed to keep 2 or 3 of them. We're talking 25 years ago. Or
They
20
all
odd years.
reapply?
Only a few of them. But I told them what I wanted. I was very, very clear what I want. If you're going to make excuses or blame the leads, don't even bother coming back. I don't care if it's just me converting. I know I'm going to convert higher anyway. I saved 1 or 2, but it's the mindset that I was after. I wanted the belief that it's not the leads, it's what you make of those leads.
So you go into that meeting straight up thinking the lead's shit. That's probably going to be shit.
I had a guy when I was working at No Limit, he said to one of them, he goes, Chris gets all the good leads. Now, at a 19, 20-year-old kid coming in, they don't know who's good or who's not. How was I getting the good leads? I positioned myself like that. His name was Murray. I won't forget his statement. He goes, if Chris doesn't get better leads than me, I'll bear my ass in Burke Street. And I said to him at the time, can we just do a little experiment? He goes, yeah, let him pick any leads he wants and give me any things I want. Now, I'll still close everything. You can't control the borrowing capacities, but your closing rate will be the same.
Yeah.
Like the per sale.
Yeah.
Not the,
so I said, Murray, are you up for it? He goes, sure. I go, Trent, would you allow us to do this for a month? Let's do it. I'm all for it. I mean, we're talking about, let's do it. My results were almost identical. His results were almost identical.
So it wasn't the leads, yeah.
But it's never the leads. It's never the leads. I mean, the quality of the leads will determine if they buy or they don't. Fair enough, based on borrowing capacity. But your booking rate and your mindset. And I knew when my consultants would go out and they'd miss 2 in a row and I'd read their miss reports, I knew that if I don't get them in and talk to them, they're going to keep missing because this is a mindset thing. And the ones that were very, very good and understood that, when they miss, they could reset quick. The ones that would just miss, you could give them anything, they're missing because they didn't have that awareness or that belief. And if you look for a crap lead all the time, you're going to run into crap leads, and your mindset's not going to convert them. So it was always interesting doing that. And as I said, I ran some very, very successful teams from the ground up and opened a lot of states through same principles as I was taught.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned going from closing everything yourself to now I need to share what I've learned, I need to share this knowledge? Like for someone, say, who might be listening to this, who's tried to do that, who might be a really good closer themselves and they can't.
What's the most you can possibly close if I gave you 10 leads? What's the most you can possibly close out of 10?
10.
Cool. That's pretty easy, yeah? Now, if someone's nowhere near as good as you and he's a 70% closer, what would he close out of 10? 7?
Yeah.
You can only do 10, yeah? If I've got 20 leads and someone did 70% and 70, how many leads are they closing?
14.
What's the most one person can close at 100%?
Yep.
Give me 3 people. At 70%, they'll outperform me any day of the week. What if I can upskill them also? So when you look at just the sheer ability that more people performing less will outperform you, and you're one person. I remember I did one thing and I'm all left brain. I analyze data. So my boss goes to me, Chris, how can we get some more sales? And I'm reading the numbers and just studying the numbers, and I go, 80-20 rule. 20% of your team does 80% of your sales. I knew my 3-4 reps. I said, this is what we're going to do. We don't need half of the team because they're not performing anyway. I want you to double book these 4 people for 6 o'clock, 6:15 and 6:30, 8:15 and 8:30. We might miss a few leads because we can't do both, but I'm going to make sure that they go into 2 appointments each, 2 appointments each, 2 appointments each, 2 appointments each. And I want to have backup appointments. We'll get Wendy on the phone. If they go into their first appointment, reschedule. I got more sales with less people because I ensured that we're sitting in front of people. Because you're going to look at the conversions. But we're talking I had 4 or 5 people. If you're only one person, you'll never scale. You'll never be able to make more money. And the hardest thing for someone to accept is they're not going to close like you. Sure, but 2 people will outperform you. It's a sheer numbers game. But also, what's your plan moving forward? You can't be selling all your life on your own. You're not going to build a business. You're not going to scale a business. And you need to transfer your knowledge to somebody else as well. I always loved being on the tools, but also I loved training my team. They're making great money. I can see them learning. I can see them growing. So we used to have our missed reports, and I used to practice their missed reports in front of everybody. So I wanted you to fill out why you think you missed, and I want you to tell me why before I teach you why, and then I'm going to role play with you. So when I was new, I used to take a piggyback out with me. So a new person.
Yeah.
I used to say to them, you're presenting first and I'm watching, then I'm going to analyze it, and then you're going to watch me. And I always used to do that to teach them. So that they might miss, and I'd walk out and I'd say, what do you think first of all? What could you have done better? You? And I said, this is what you could have done. Now watch me break the pact. Watch how I ask questions. Watch how I close. Watch how it goes through the process. Because after they've done it and I've told them on the way to the 8:30, I will actually display what I'm saying. So it was very, very different. So I guess the only way to scale is to build your team. And when you said before, if you're good in sales or you're a good manager, when I got that role, I was a gun salesman. I took that role for granted, which was not like me, but I did. I was making big bucks. I'd rock up late, go to lunch, come back. Then one of my managers put me in the room and it gave me that word. And I said, I didn't even realize I'm sorry. I said, from now on, you'll never have that conversation with me again. I'll be your best department. And the rest is history. But I took that position for granted because I thought I could sell. No one taught me how to lead people. And when I went to ask my manager, you should have taught me, he goes, I pay you the big bucks, figure it out. Because I thought I'm going to cruise along, it's going to be easy, but it was just me managing me. But when I need to manage big budgets, sell a lot of property, make a lot of money, it was very different. So, and the best way to learn is to make mistakes. The best way to learn is to reflect on what you could have done better. to be honest with yourself. And I always say it's having a champion mentality, not a victim. If you're always blaming everything else, the leads, I used to say to people, I can train anyone, but as soon as you start making excuse on the miss reports, at that point, I can't train you anymore. So I'll train you as much as you want. And I used to say to them, every Tuesday, I train the whole team in front of everyone. And then if you wanted to personally come, Robin, me train you personally, I want you to give me the missed reports and you book in a session with me. You tell me what you could have done different. And the person that went to that effort to do it was getting better and better. For the me that was forcing people to train and coach them, I said, if you miss and you make excuses, at that point, I can't train you. The results will work themselves out. Either you stay or you don't. But the ones that showed me initiative, the ones that showed me effort, were the ones I spent time with. And that was only through experience. At the start, you want to help everyone. I want to get better, but you haven't put no effort to try to get better. What's the last book you've read? Look at your missed reports. Give me something to work with.
Yeah. It's you can't help someone who is going to blame anything else. Point the finger at, the sun, the weather, it rained today, this happened, I was late, traffic. But like
that took time for me to learn. And my boss would say, because I was always early, he said, don't want to get traffic, just leave earlier, mate. Show up on time. Because when I first got hired in the industry, it was something like out of a Boiler Room movie. I remember the main guy flew down wearing a Versace suit. And his meeting was literally something out of a movie, right? It was like Glengarry Glen Ross. He walks in with his Versace, looked good. He goes, all right, listen up, guys. We're going to train you guys for 2 days, 6 hours each. We're going to get you out there. Some of you will sink, some of you will swim. For the ones that swim, well done. For those who sink, you come back. You do 1 more day training for 6 hours. If it doesn't work, you're fucking fired. And walks out of the room.
Just like that.
Just like that. All I thought in my head is, I'll show you.
How long ago was this? This was when you first started?
I was 19.
You couldn't do that today, could you?
Absolutely not. I thought, I'll show you. 2 people quit after this speech. It was something out of a movie, and I thought, that got me up. But what I learned is although that worked for me, there could have been other people that don't respond to that. So my job as a good leader is to understand what motivates you, what makes you a better closer. I know the guy who wasn't that good, and I was very, very arrogant when I was young. I was like that. That's why they responded to that. I remember a guy came up to me. He worked with me for many years. His name was Steve Hatzolis, beautiful man. And I don't remember doing this, but he told me, and it sounds like something I would have done. He goes to me, he asked me a question. And my response to that question, how many sales are you on this month? And he says like 0. And I said, I'm on 7. And I walked off on him. He goes, do you remember doing that to me, Chris? And I said, no. But it sounds like something I would have done when I was younger. This guy turned out to be a very slow starter, became a gun, an amazing closer, not through sales, through being likable. But it took him a long time to get to that. And I thought to myself, if you can train people, it's like I've got 4 kids. If I parent them all the same, I won't bring the best out in each of them, will I?
They're all different, right?
It's like they've got 8 different parents, my kids. They're very, very different. So you need to... The same when you're coaching or mentoring someone, and I've got different mentors and business coaches, if they only have one way, that might not be able to motivate you or inspire you to become better.
Yeah, like if you're talking to a room, you might connect with 2, but you're going to miss the rest.
Correct.
Yeah.
And back then, the industry that I started, it was all sales. It was like that. But I loved it. I thrived in that environment.
Go for it.
You just mentioned something then, coaches and mentors. Do you think that's helped you a lot in your career?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Super important.
Do you think it's almost a prerequisite, really, as a business owner, if you want high levels of success? We're much the same. We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in our coaching and mentoring and personal development stuff, and that's actually where we met and where we became friends and then business partners and a whole range of things. But yeah, because I see a lot of people go through the day-to-day grind for many years, and as you kind of said, have that level of arrogance and don't actually go out and get help and seek advice from advisors, from mentors, from coaches, because they can do it, because they might be really good practitioners, have the skills that they've got that got them where they are today, but they're not the skills that are going to get them
where they need to be. And what gets you from 0 to 1 million, 1 million to 10, or 10 to 100 are different skill sets. And unequivocally, the answer is yes, you need good mentors. Although I was very, very good at sales and arrogant, I understood one thing. I need good people around me. So I always had good mentors. I always had, and people, you have mentors, you have teachers at school. Olympic athlete has coaches. Why wouldn't you have a coach for business? And as hard as it is, you know, Jack Welch rates everyone A, B, C, but he looks at it as that's the level of team member, staff, whatever. From GE now, that doesn't apply to a lot of people. But when you read books like Winning and you learn all this stuff, there's so many good takeaways you can take. Now, for me, it was an essential part of my growth. And I still today employ a ton of my money and investment. If you don't invest in yourself, why should someone else? And the best investment you're ever going to make, the best return, if you speak to anyone, the first thing they're going to say to you is myself. Second thing they'll typically say is a business. Third will be shares, property, crypto, anything like that. But in order, it's investment in themselves. And they hang around people that are super successful, billionaires worth hundreds of millions, and they teach you a different way to think. They inspire you differently. And if you're that arrogant to think you don't have a ton to learn, you look at people like, and I love Stoicism, I love Socrates, I love reading, I love learning. All I know is nothing. And the oracle said this guy's the smartest man alive. And that was his philosophy because he wanted to learn and wanted to grow. And I guess that takes us back to when I was talking about sales. Although I was closing, I won Rookie of the Year, did 83 sales in my first year, I knew that I wanted to keep improving. Now, could I have become better at sales and closing? Sure. But I knew that I still wanted to keep learning. And I was out working and out training, I think, the whole team. Because it was a passion. It wasn't a forced, hey, Chris, do you want to go do this course?
9 to 5. And that's probably what it is for a lot of people too, where they just come in and they want to do their hours and clock out.
But that's fine too.
Absolutely.
So when people talk about that, I make no bones with that. I ask one thing, be clear with what you want, be truthful with what you want. So be honest when you look in the mirror. Nothing's wrong with a 9 to 5, going home and spending 10 hours with your wife, with your kids, nothing.
You've won. As we say,
whatever
like
it is,
if it makes you happy and that gives you fulfillment,
that's what you want.
Like you've won. Like
I'm
that's
happy
great.
for people that do that. When people say to me, "You're crazy" or whatever it is, or they don't understand it, I'm saying, "Look, what's the thing you love the most?" And they give me an example. I said, "I do that every day times 10." So for me, it's not really an effort. Now, some people that want to do their 9 to 5, make $500,000, $1 million, and retire, I'm all for that. I say, "Well done, mate. That is awesome." That's not me though. Like, and I said this once too. If you said to me, Chris, here's $1 billion check, but there's one KV, you can never work again for the rest of your life, I'll say, there's no way. That's a death sentence to me.
Yeah.
But to other people, they might think,
Yeah, good.
right. But there's no wrong or right. That's what I say to people.
What is that though? Because we've mentioned this previously as well. And I'll put my hand up and say I'm super guilty of this. And it's like you're driven and you're hungry and you start this new thing and you go, and then and I would say most people are guilty of this. They
cruise or go on idle?
They back off the pedal. You know what I mean? Like they kind of foot's flat and you're going and it's like all of a sudden you have best month, and you kind of go on cruise control.
Happened to me once. So when I mentioned the sales, I remember I got, out of the 11 months of the year we were selling, I got 9 first, 2 seconds. And I was so livid.
As in you were first?
First top salesman. 2, I came second. I was so livid. When I walked into that sales office, my boss would make fun of me that I was second because he knew how much it killed me. Yeah. But I remember going
Called
back
you number 2 for that month.
Oh, like
number 2.
when I'd have a missed report, I'd walk into the meeting and I'd always be first in the meeting because I'm always very punctual, and he'd be holding my missed report like this.
Yeah.
And I'd want to kill him, right? But going back to feeling comfortable, I had that feeling once. I think it was about 2:17. I'm walking to the office and I'll never forget this feeling. It was in the morning. I think it was about 2:33 in the morning. That's the time I used to go back then. I'm walking to the office.
You used to go into the office at 3
I used to get up at 2:30. I would be at the office at 2:45 to 3, and I'd leave at 7 p.m. 5-6 days a week. 2 days a week I'd drive early.
What time did you get to bed?
So
I never used to
3 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes.
every day. So he's doing 16-hour days.
16, 20 some days. I'd go to bed maybe 10:30, 11:30. I wouldn't sleep much.
Mm-hmm.
So I write everything down. I'm so left brain, it's insane.
Yeah.
So I was doing 100-hour work weeks for a long time in my career. Now I I say that I'm semi-retired. I do 60, 70, and it's just
Part-time.
I'm part-time now. But I say I'm a retired businessman, does 70, 80 hours a week now. But it's very easy. So I'm walking to the office. It's nice and quiet. I used to live at the Valencia. My office is at 420 St Kilda Road. So it's a couple hundred meters. And as I'm walking there, I'm thinking, the business is doing well. You own a couple properties. Got a very good passive income. You're doing okay. And that scared the crap out of me. My pace picked up about 3-4x, and I almost ran to the office and I freaked out. Like, I never want to have that feeling ever.
That's great, again, that you had that foresight to do that. So, because we've both had this conversation many times, and I had that position probably pre-COVID, where sorry for context you may not know, I've got a construction company, so we build a lot of luxury homes and whatnot, and we were crushing it. We were winning jobs every week. We was posting a new project up. I started to think my shit didn't stink.
Yeah.
Everyone's praising me. You hear all the praise. Oh, wow, this is good on social media. You got another job. Oh, that's a nice car. There's some nice clothes. And then COVID came along and punched me in the face, and we lost a ton of money, hugely stressful time, and that was the wake up call for me. It made me show that there were holes in my bucket that needed to be plugged in or plugged up. And although we were still very good and systemized and got through that period, I still feel that it was contributed to the fact that I just got too comfortable at winning that I lost the sight of, that potential risk that could have happened.
It was supposed to happen, but you look at it too. It's through that adversity. Like, I've had the thing I mentioned at the start with my son, couple business partnerships that went sour, very, very sour, went through a divorce, cost me a packet. But through all those hard times, you look back, a diamond is created through extreme pressure.
Yeah.
It was the best times of my life when it come to becoming a better leader, a better human being.
So true.
Understanding different things, to appreciate things differently. Now, for me, a big pillar of my work is my philanthropy work, because it's something that keeps me purposeful, keeps me jumping out of bed. And I think if you find something like that inspires you, that's bigger than you, giving back, I believe, is always bigger than you, because it says a lot more about your purpose than just making money. I know a lot of people that make money, but what do you do with that money? Are you a good member of the community? Are you helping people? Are you doing good things? That's what I think is cool. That's what I want to be doing. So even when I was sitting back on my balcony and thinking this is going to be a tough ride ahead of me, I sat back watching the sunset in St Kilda and thinking, I'm all good. I've never been better than I am now. Through this time, I know that my appreciation is going to go up. As long as you can roll up your sleeves and work hard, which is never going to be an issue for me as long as I'm breathing, I'm all good. I mean, I started for minus 348 grand. How much worse?
Come back.
Yeah. When people say I started the business from zero, I said to them, I wish I had zero.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been, I would have taken that. If you told me, Chris, you can start a new business with $0, I'll take it,
I remember my first beer.
Yeah. But it was good.
I have one more question before you jump in.
Go for it.
And so you're working 100-hour weeks.
Yep.
How old were you about around that time?
The last time I did that, 4 years ago.
Okay. You had kids quite young, you mentioned.
I've got 4 kids.
4 kids.
So I have a 22-year-old son.
Yep.
I have a 12-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old daughter, and an 8-year-old daughter.
Okay. How have you prioritized your work and then also your family with that as well? And how have you, I don't like using the word balance. I don't think balance is something that needs to be strived for.
Well, look,
I think it's a level of prioritizing what the most important thing is at any given time.
I don't think there is such thing as balance. Well, I don't understand the word personally. I think it's work-life choices.
Yeah.
I made work-life choices. I know to build something great requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of sacrifice. So I did miss a lot of time, but 2 days of those, two out of 5 days, I'll be home at 7 a.m. with 2 coffees. I'll take my kids to school, so I'm very, very lucky. Everything's very close by design. Their schools are close. My work is close. Everything's close. I live close. So I take them to school. I'm home by 7. I'll read them a book. I spend an hour or 2 with them, and it goes again. Saturday, I'd go to work in the mornings. Sunday, I spend time with my kids. I still go on date nights every week. I'd travel with my wife. I always told her, I'm not the kind of person that's going to give you a ton of time. I'm going to try to do my best to give you quality time and be present. And part of my marriage, I wasn't present because I didn't have access to myself. I wasn't as aware as I am now. I studied a lot of books, done a lot of research, and I'm an avid learner. So I read, I mind feed. So out of that time in the office in the morning, I do my visualization, what I'm grateful for, and I'll mind feed 1 to 4 hours most days. So I'll read a book or I listen to a book. So because I've got ADHD and I find it hard to focus, I've found a way that I can focus. If anything that I'm learning, if I'm with my mentor, I'd always be dressed to the tens and I'd go in and I'm just laser focused. If I'm not focused, I'm everywhere. So how am I going to learn? How am I going to pick up a book? I wasn't reading at school, but when I left now an avid learner, we're sitting here in July and I've completed 87 books this year. And how have I done that? I buy the hard copy. I buy the audio version. I get it read to me in my ears like these micro, and I'm reading the book at the same time. I do that for 1 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah, we were saying, that's how I read as
And
well.
that's how I read.
Saying that the other day. I'm very much the same where I can't focus too, like I'll read and then I'll be thinking about something that I have to
That's
do.
right. If you put it in your ear.
Yeah, massive.
And that's been a game changer for me. So and I love it and I enjoy it.
How long have you been doing that for?
Years.
Yeah, because Alex Hormozy said that. I don't know if you know him, but
I do know.
he said it on a podcast, I think. He said
How long
to me,
ago?
Look, for me, I've been doing it for probably at least a couple of years now.
Post COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I've been doing this methodology I did a post about this maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah. Aside from the being able to concentrate, you actually retain a lot more. I do anyway. Retain a lot more information.
Well, it's visual and
Yeah,
audio.
and audio. You're doing both.
So
and
when
you're
you do
retaining
both,
what
you
you're
retain
listening
it. If you want to really learn something, you write it down. If you want to understand it fully, you teach it. So if you're listening to a book and you write it down, so for me, learning words is important. So if I don't understand a word, I'll pause and then I'll put the word in the thesaurus or I'll use other words with it so I can put it in my head. You write down some notes. But if you want to really, really learn something, you write it down like your goals when you visualize. But if you want to understand the book or any methodology, you teach it. Because if you teach it, you get a different understanding of it. And for me, I also think that's what helped my sales as well. I was obsessed in selling, but I loved teaching.
Yeah.
So I was learning all day. Even when I wasn't on the tools, I was on the tools because why did you miss today? What was your challenge? What could you have done better? And I really enjoyed that process. And I enjoyed seeing people become better and better and better. And getting them to change their mindset that if you don't book this client, you've done them a disservice. I don't want to walk in and say, hey, Chris was a great bloke, but see you later, Chris. I don't care what they say about Chris. I want them to say, Chris got me to come from A to B and I paid off my mortgage. Chris made me buy 2, 3, 4, 5 properties. That's the Chris I want.
Yeah.
I don't need friends or people to say Chris is a good bloke. I've got enough people that do that. I've got a great support network. I'm there for a specific reason. That's to get people from A to B.
Yeah, excellent.
That's a whole different way of looking at it, isn't it? I got about 30 different ways I want to take this conversation. Why 3 a.m.? I'm curious. Like, what would you do from 3 to 7?
You know the 5 a.m. club, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, if it's 5, I've got to be earlier.
Yeah.
So then I started a brand. I called it CC245 because I was up by 2:45, but I never needed the alarm because I was always up before then. So I didn't want to wake my wife and kids up. So I'd always put my suit downstairs with all my stuff beforehand. I'd roll out of bed, wash my face, tracksuit on, suit gone. I'd be in the office within 10 minutes flat. I lived in South Yarra. My office is in St Kilda Road. 7 o'clock, I'd walk into the bathroom, put my 3-piece on. I felt like Batman, and then I'd come out and I'm ready to go. So from 3 to 7, what I did, it would be all visualization, all gratefulness, and all just focusing on what I want to achieve.
So nothing to do with
So
work
you
at
weren't
that
working,
period of
yeah.
time.
If I did half to 1 hour's work, so maybe. It's all sharpening my axe, seeing what I want to do. And people go, what do you do it that early? And I think a very long time ago, my videographer goes, come and record you. I go, if you want. So he came and
Earliest he's ever been up in his life, Mike.
and he's like, whatever. But Mauricio, shout out to Mauricio that did that. But now I get up at 5. I'm sleeping more than I've ever slept. And I like to experiment with all different things. And I say to people, I'm the exact same person I was all my life. I'm kind, I'm giving, I listen, I'm compassionate. But every 6 months I've evolved. I'm a different person. I might be getting up at 3 o'clock, reading a ton of books. I'm doing this differently. I'm always trying to experiment what works for me. So when people follow idols and they go, I want to do that because he's doing that, that might not work for you. Take what you want from that person. You try what's going to work for you, because if it works for you, you can stick to it. You're going to get better results and you're going to enjoy it. So for me, and I'll give you an example. Everyone knows about cold showers. I started taking cold showers every morning, and I got to a point where it wasn't a cold shower anymore. It didn't have an impact on me. So after I've done 3 months, now I'm back to warm, and then I go back to cold again instant. So as soon as I'm used to something, cold turkey, and I start something else, because I just want to experiment with something. I just want to keep evolving.
Keep yourself on your toes as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the ADHD part, or it's the entrepreneurial part. It's whatever it may be, but it keeps my mind not bored.
Yeah, I love that. So you spend 3 hours in the morning just focusing on
Visualize,
feeding your mind.
reading my goals, writing things down. A lot of things already happen when you visualize them, and they say visualization is important, but without action, it's just visualization. It's good to get it out there, but what action are you going to take? And I always say the smallest action is more powerful than the greatest thought. Visualize it, make sure that you've seen it, that it's going to happen, and then you got to work. You got to put the hard work in. Now, I know a lot of successful people like you two gentlemen. I'm sure you are, and you know a lot of people. I don't know one of them that hasn't put in all the hard work. Now, the ones that really enjoy it, the ones that really love what they do, they stand out a mile away. No matter if you're successful, if you're doing it and it's a grind and you can't stand it, is it worth it?
Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose.
I wouldn't see that as success. Now, obviously, having 4 kids and having a couple failed relationships, there was always a cost. So if I'm spending a lot of time here, there was always something that we had to give. And looking back, I probably could have been more cognizant of that fact. Would I have done it different?
That's the question.
Probably not.
You're obviously very proud of, and rightly so, of what you've been able to achieve over the last.
It's not that. It's not the achievement. It's what I've learned, who I've become, and how much I've pushed myself. Now, maybe I could have done things a little bit better, but you know what I always say to people? If that's you and that's a happy version of you, I would never try to change you. I don't know that anyone can't change me, but I'll never try to change you either, because it's just not the way I'm wired.
So aside from the business success that you've had and everything that you do, you've obviously, for those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, you're dressed to a T. You look in good shape. You know, you're 45, you said?
Yep.
How important is your health to you? You know, you're in your mid-life, as we say, almost the halfway point. But how important is your health? Because you do look fit. You're looking good.
It's the lighting.
That's it. It's the neon sign. That's all it is.
I saw Robbie at the gym, funny enough, we crossed each other. I go in and out of love with fitness, and I wish I could give you a different answer.
Yeah.
So I'm super fit and I'm out of shape. So the last time I was in very, very good shape was 35. So I was 10 years ago. And about 6 months ago, I thought I better get back into shape. My kids are young. But I didn't want to go to the gym for an hour. Then you got to shower. It's 2 hours out of my day. I prefer to read. But I think it's the most important thing, because if you're healthy, you're wealthy.
Yeah.
And you need a good body, because it will generate a good mind. It will create and cultivate a good mind to make good decisions. But more importantly, I wanted to be a young father. I've got little kids that their energy levels are insane, especially my little one who's 8. She never stops. So I think it's very, very important. So when I see people that have really run a successful business, that are in shape, and they also have a great relationship, I always say, well done. You really understand how to water what's important. Because people say the grass is greener on the other side, but everyone said the grass is greener where you water it. If you think health is important, your actions need to align with being healthy. If a relationship's important, you need to make sure to do all those things. And there's no chance I'm giving relationship advice, because my track record definitely not good in that regard. But when it comes to wealth as well, it's the same. But I do.
But you learn from it as well. Like it's okay. So you've said you've had some failed relationships, but then the next one, there's things that you've learned from the past one that will help you.
One would hope. I've been engaged once and married. No, engaged 3 times and married once.
Yeah.
But 4 is my lucky number, so I was thinking
That's
maybe
it. Go again.
maybe no. I'm a hopeless romantic, so maybe I will go again. But and I'd love people go, would you like to have more kids? I said I'll have as many as I can. You know, I love
Yeah.
kids, but it's like anything. It creates. You need time. You need space.
Yeah.
So when they mean space, you need headspace to train. You need it to work, and there's no wrong or right. I mean, I know people that are super wealthy that are out of shape.
Yeah.
I know people that are
I
super
feel
wealthy.
when I
and in
see
shape.
that, and I feel like they're losing. You know, we speak on stages and we coach and mentor people. And I think it was one of our very first events. I was probably close to 10 kilos heavier than I am now. And not that I was obese or fat or anything, but I saw that I was out of shape. And I felt that I was contradicting myself by being on stage and telling everyone, you need to be a high performer, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, when I wasn't a high performer in that aspect of
But
my
you
life.
just said it there. Were you talking about fitness on stage?
Not specifically fitness, no.
So
I was talking about a whole range of things like looking, mind, body, soul, all that sort of stuff. But
You're
it was
still well versed in other things.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you're up there,
absolutely.
and I'll be honest with you, if you're up there and you're preaching fitness and you're out of shape,
Of
I'm
course.
thinking you're a tosser.
Yeah, when I went
Well,
to,
not you, anyone.
Of course,
Sorry.
of course. So when I looked for a PT, because this journey happened a couple of years ago, because as you said, like 10 years ago, I used to have a great body when I was in my early 20s. You know, I used to this, and I was sick of saying I used to.
How old
I
are you
can be
boys?
now. I'm 41, just turned 41.
I'm 34.
You know, one of my national managers used to say to me, if someone says I used to or this and then they talk about their heyday,
That's right.
they're not going to get it back. The
That's
best
it.
is yet to come.
That's right.
It's my favorite saying. You can draw motivation, inspiration from that time, but if you're stuck in the past
Yeah,
and you're living in the past, that's it.
exactly right.
It's game over.
And I went to the gym and I looked at the board of trainers that are on there and I picked the biggest, baddest, fittest one there. And I said, all right, you're going to be my PT. And yeah, we started training together. I lost all this weight, got all this muscle again. And as you said, because my mind was healthy, my body was healthy, I started performing better at work as well. And then that just transponded in all aspects of my life. And you said, oh, I've got young kids too. I wanted to be a young dad. I wanted to be a young grandfather. You know, the choice of me being fit and able and willing to play with my grandkids one day is going to be because of the choices I make today,
No doubt.
not when I'm 80.
And every hour, whatever time you spend in the gym is going to be less time in the doctors when you get
Yeah,
older.
right, without a doubt.
But it's, for me, I have 2 very, very fit brothers. One I told you is a pro fighter. They're in ridiculous shape, yeah? Great shape. But they love it. For me to look you in the eyes and say, I love going to the gym, I'm starting to fall in love with it a little bit again now, but it would never replace learning. It would never replace my work.
Yeah.
With them, man, it's part of their lifestyle. It's very, very different. Like when I was playing snooker and doing other sports, if you really enjoy that, but you can go back and I know when Anthony Robbins used to talk about it, if you can put a different cassette plate in your mind and trick your mind that if you're healthier, you'll perform better or be a better father, you can slowly convert or change your neural pathways to change that CD, that disc, whatever you want to call it, into this is the reason I'm doing it. And then you fall in love with something slowly. The better you get, the more fit you are, the better you are with your kids. You start making sharper decisions. You start to think, I don't want to drink a bottle of wine anymore because the recovery is too much, or that glass of wine, I'm not going to be able to sleep as well. These are things that in my 20s, I never thought that. I just, whatever, let's go. Now, as you're getting older, you're making more cognizant decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
Your perspective changes.
It does. As you get older, it does. And you see, I got a 22-year-old son. I look at him and go, oh my God, that's gone so quick. You can conceptualize time much more different when you see it in your own kids. 22 years, and I think, gee, that's gone so quick.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I've never heard anyone describe it like that. Like you conceptualize time differently when you see it in your own
You
children.
do. And you've heard the story, time goes a lot faster when you get older.
Yeah.
Do you know why that is? Because I questioned it, because I question everything.
I've heard the theory of, when you live a year and you're 10 years old, that's 10% of your life.
100%.
And then
It represents a smaller percentage. So the reason you feel it's quicker, because it is quicker.
Yeah.
So 10% if you're 10, if you're 20, it's 5%.
all of a sudden
and so
it's-
on
yeah.
and so on. So when they say life's going faster, the relativity of time, it actually is.
in comparison to your perspective.
Because I had to ask it.
Bigger timeline.
I wanted to know because I've heard that all the time. I wonder why that is. Started researching it. Of course, Einstein popped up, mentioned the percentages. And once you conceptualize something like that, you go, that makes perfect sense.
And the scariest part about that is there is no way that it slows down.
Well, that's one thing we can't get back. So have fun, do what you're going to do, make mistakes, learn from them,
Enjoy
and
the
keep
journey.
punching. Yeah, that's no one's perfect. I don't worry about things too much. I think I read a lot of books on Stoicism and the way they don't worry about anything. They only worry about how they can control what's happening, how they respond to events. No event's good, no event's bad. It just is what it is. How do I respond to it? You can't worry about, what doesn't matter. And I used to say that when I was training my team, they'd come in to speak me and they'll go, what? Pause, smile. They'd smile. Before you say anything, whatever the problem is, no problem, we're going to fix it. Just by smiling, it releases endorphins, it puts them in a different frame of mind, telling them it's going to be fine, pause, and we can always problem solve it. And just those little things, getting the team in that frame of mind and saying, no, whatever it is, it's all good, we'll fix it. And they walk out, it wasn't that bad. I go, you usually stress more in anticipation to an event than the actual event. And I've learned that through, I guess everyone has through their life. You're stressing about something and you do it and you go, it wasn't that bad. I remember the first time I jumped in the cold bath and they go, my mate go, don't even count. I go, mate, just jump in. I jump straight in, whatever. If you think about it and dwell on it, it's never that
Doesn't
bad.
get warmer the longer
Let's
you
give
wait.
it a crack. What's going to happen?
The psychological torture is worse.
But it always is.
yeah.
And I was in a Stoic book that I read that you always, I think Seneca said it. It was Seneca or Socrates. I'm pretty sure it was Seneca. You always, if it wasn't them, it was Marcus Aurelius. You always stress in anticipation of the event more than the actual event. So if you can remove that, why would you suffer for something twice?
Yeah.
Just do it once.
Yeah, just do it
Get in
if
and
it
get it
happens.
done.
Yeah.
But you learn that slowly.
Yeah, that takes mental strength.
But
be able
everything's learnable. Any knowledge that you want is already here. You just got to find it.
What would you say is the greatest maybe habit or trait or skill that you've learned that's helped you on your journey to date?
Just never stop growing. Have good people around you. Just put a smile on your face. It's always going to be okay. How bad is it? You're here. You're healthy. Can't change the past. Just keep moving. So for me, it's an attitude of gratitude. I've just always had that,
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that you coach your team. Do you do other coaching for other people as well? Say outside of this, would you go and do an event and coach people to learn about sales or learn about
have in the
business or
past.
anything like that?
And I train my team, and I've been asked many times would you coach me, and offered a lot of money.
Yeah.
Said my heart's not in it, so I'll say no. Do I do it for free for friends and mentor them? Sure, all the time. I speak on stage. So March, I got invited to go to Bali by IGA. So I did a speech there on giving back to the community for philanthropy. In September, I've been invited to go to Cyprus. There's an Inspire conference with 4,000 people and 100 speakers from around the world. Cyprus, so they looked me up on LinkedIn. So they've invited me to go over there. So I do a lot of those things. I've spoke in America, so I enjoy that stuff. You meet great people. It is nerve-wracking, which is what I love. If there's a position, an opportunity for me to get really embarrassed or fail, that's my favorite position to be in, because I know I'm going to learn from that, and I'll always come back. So I do a lot of speaking on stage now. I also spoke at the Sofitel this year, and I've been on the 9th of August. If anyone's listening, there's Australasian Summit. There's from 9 to 5. There's about 9 speakers. I'm one of the speakers there. They're going to be talking about business, real estate, wealth creation. I'm speaking on the 9th there as well. So I'm doing more and more of those gigs. People ask me. I do a lot of podcasts because I enjoy it. I have my own podcast, which is currently in its 7th season. It's good getting to know people.
And what's your podcast called? For those listening, they can check it out.
It's called Relentless, Life on Your Terms.
Awesome. Love it. That's really good. I mean, we've been doing this now. What episode are we up to now?
This will be 91.
That's amazing. Robbie was sharing, you're very close to that big 100. It's
Yeah,
a big milestone. It's a massive.
We haven't done seasons per se, so we've done it literally week on week. We haven't missed the week yet.
week since launching.
But also, Robbie shared a really good concept that you do guests and no guests as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
a lot of our chats are just us.
I do a lot of, every time I go to a podcast, I always try to take 1 or 2 things away from that. And I remember once one of my friends has a very good podcast called Real Estate Renovators. His name Rex Asfariabi. And he booked it. He's got a beautiful penthouse and he has it there, and he does 4 or 5 episodes back to back. It's a bit easier when you live there and you can change clothes. So as soon as I saw that, I go, you know what, I'm going to do, I've got 3 podcasts tomorrow, one after the other, I thought that's a really good idea. good emails go out, good messages that go out. So every podcast that I'm on, I try to take something away from them, and I try to share some of the things that I've learned, because there's some really good podcasts out there, and all of them do unique things. And when you said to me you do guests and no guests, I thought that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think it takes the pressure off, in the sense of sometimes, like, we might do 6 episodes in a row and it's just me and him, and then we'll get someone on, and then we might have 3 weeks in a row where we've got guests, and we just sort of mix it up, because we want to get good people on, and we want to get people on who can add value to everyone that takes the time out to listen, because there's thousands of podcasts. You know what I mean?
Everyone's got a podcast now, but it's like you said, a lot of people that have podcasts, you can also share talent, you know? Like if I've got 5 good guests that will be good here, I pass them over, and likewise, I've always got all of mine through networking. So I'm a member of Club of United Business. A lot of mine come from there. I was in Sydney last week and I did 3 podcasts from guests from Sydney, and I was on 2 people's podcasts as well. And when you're networking with people like that, you meet amazing people. And the beauty of it is you're listening to so many great stories, so many great journeys, so many great lessons that you unpack from that. And it opens a lot of good friendships as well, you know?
Yeah,
Absolutely
it opens the door, definitely, for a lot of things to happen. Favorite book?
Look, that depends on the genre, yeah.
Favorite book this year? You said you read 87, was it?
I'm on my 87th at the moment.
87th book?
Favorite book?
That's phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, we're in July.
Yeah, look, it's favorite book I've read this year. Look, Stoicism's my favorite. Principles, I read Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. I love that.
Principles is a great book.
And yeah, Changing World
That's
Order
the
is the
next
second
one,
one,
yeah.
which is fantastic. I love everything in that genre, you know, sales-wise. The last one I just read was Dare to Lead. So I do a lot of leadership books. So that's a very, very good book to read.
Dare to Lead by Brene Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one I just finished. It's
Yeah.
a great book.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. All right. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Who do you think's the greatest salesman?
What?
Say, let's make this a little bit more broad.
Yeah.
Let's not make it someone you know, so a person or someone that you've worked with. Who do you think's one of the best salesmen out there that would be well known?
That's such a loaded question. There could be so many people.
Well, who do you resonate with then? Who do you like? Who do you like? Yeah, I see why you're doing that.
I understand my style is a very, very high-end closer. So if you look, have you ever seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross?
No, I haven't actually.
Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Alec Baldwin, Jack Lemmons. You're in sales, you have to watch this movie. So
Yeah.
there's a scene, it's an abusive scene, it's a sales environment. It's exactly any boardroom you've been to, you find the guy whinging. Al Pacino's the gun, his name's Roma, he just closes. So my son is called Alec, from this Alec Baldwin character in this. The amount of seminars I've been to and seen this clip is insane. So going back to your question, because I don't want to avoid it, like you got Jordan Belfort, the way he closes is very good. You got Grant Cardone. There's so many good people. Females are great closers as well because of the way they ask questions. I learned from everyone, but I remember I said to my ex-boss, I wasn't as good as listening back then. I said, I want to be the best salesperson on the planet. And he goes, you need to listen more. I said, what was that? But I did used to speak a lot. I just used to plow in and just close. Now as I'm old, I'm getting more refined. Robert Kiyosaki is very, very good. Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of the first books I read that really shaped me. Rich Kid, Smart Kid, Sales Dogs by Blessing, which is part of that series, is a very, very good book as well.
What was that one, sorry?
Sales Dogs by Blair Singer. It's part of the Rich Dad Poor Dad. It talks about people being different dogs. You're a golden retriever, you're a bulldog, you're a mongrel, and that different sales traits. Surrounded by, it's kind of like a older version of Surrounded by Idiots. So you're a red character, you're green, or you're orange, or you're blue, just different character traits. Because if you understand what they are, you know how to approach them, how to ask questions, how to close them. So, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't give you one person.
Yeah.
There's so many. Can I ask you that same question? Who would you say?
Yeah, look, we recently went and saw Grant Cardone up in the
10X?
States. Yeah, went to the 10X. I went to it 2019, just before COVID happened. Went to his conference then, and then we went to it again there, and then we saw Alex Hormozy there too. I find that he's very in your face, very pushy, very, this is how you got to do the sales, you got to close, you got to do all that sort of stuff. And whilst there was part of that I resonated with, there was also part of it that I didn't, because when we went to the event, there was literally people there like the clipboard mafia. They're chasing you down. Can I sit with you? Can we do this? Can we do this? And they're relentless with the sale.
Yeah.
Very in your face.
Yeah, very much so.
Without,
It's different.
without offending anyone, it's very American.
Oh, without a doubt,
Extremely American.
it's very much.
Very wankery.
Yeah, without a doubt. But they love it there too, though. I
look,
think it works there. I don't know if it works
insane.
here, though.
I went to and I don't mean to offend anyone, and I'm apologizing in
No,
advance if I do.
No,
I went to a
we offend everyone.
I went to a 7,000
They're used to
person
fine.
seminar, Anthony Robbins, and I love Anthony Robbins, by the way. I've done Date with Destiny. I've done quite a lot of his course. I've still got CDs of his, so I think he's an absolute legend. He's a pioneer. He's great. His books are great as well. Big fan. But at one point, he got people to get up, and they were looking at each other and screaming at the top of their lungs, I own you. And I'm looking around absolutely baffled, and I'm thinking, wow, you're like sheep and you're screaming at each other. I don't need someone to scream at me to motivate me. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I don't need that level of hype. And is it hype? Is it effective? Is it working in the real world? What's going on? I was just so shocked. Now I got amazing content and I love it, but I feel a lot of people, and it's a generalization, but especially from America, have that really loud ooh-ha.
Yeah.
I like to go in, close, do my job, be effective, be efficient, without screaming at people. Now, I love tonality. I love using my hands. I'm ethnic. I guess I was born that way. But I'm not screaming at someone I don't know or yelling and pointing at them like this, which I think is so rude, and you own me. And I'm looking in that room and I'm just like, wow, this is insane.
So true. Like I felt the same way with a lot of his teachings as well, particularly with Tony. But then we've seen it at other events that we've gone to and other
Gets me every
training.
time.
Yeah, and we look at it and we're like, how
Cardone
are you
or
doing
whatever,
that?
but it's insane. Like, and does it work? Sure. Do you sell? Sure. But for me, when they're looking at me and asking me to, no, thank you. And they're looking at the front and they're pointing and doing this, and I'm like, I'm actually amazed that people are just full on screaming, and the hype is real because you feel it. But it's like I said before, it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
You can learn from everyone if you go in there open-minded. Don't use that though. Use what is going to resonate with you.
Yeah.
But I know Grant Cardone is a great salesman. He's very, very good at closing. But if you put yourself in a position of power, if you put yourself in a strong position where someone wants to or has to negotiate with you, it becomes a lot easier because you can stack the deck in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's a big, and of course he's got to get to that point. He's got to be very good. He's got to sell to get there. But when you get there, I think it changes. Like when I was 19, 20 and I had to sell real estate to people, the hell do you know? You're 19, 20. So I had to come up with a story quick.
Yeah.
And the story had to be true. Do you know the story I was using? I was talking about my migrant parents. I've seen my father work all his life. This is what happened when he didn't buy real estate. This is what happened when he did. And I could relate. When I bought one property, it got easier. By the time I had 8 properties and I was 23 going into houses, I could use my own example.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I wasn't talking to many people that had more than 8 properties. And I'm 23. And it wasn't given. I made it. I built it.
Look, and age doesn't determine ability.
I had and I share this story with you because I thought what a great answer. I asked this kid who came in, he was in broking for a year and a half. And I was looking for a senior position, gun broker. He was closing like 80 to 100 million. Now I knew what I would have said if I asked myself this question. I go, I want someone with experience. So you've only been doing this for a year and a half. And he looked at me, boom, and snapped and answered straight away. And I go, that's the exact answer I would have given. He goes, how many brokers in a year and a half done 80 million? Now, how many loans have I settled? I've got like 6 years experience.
it's the resume.
And I said,
It's the thing.
boom.
6 years experience in a
I
year
go,
and a half.
that's the exact answer that I would have answered. But I wanted to see if he can think on his feet.
Yeah.
He's done more deals than someone been there for years, but I wanted to see how quick he'll look at me. He paused, barely batted an eyelid and hit me with it. And I go to him, that is a great answer, man.
That is a great answer.
It is. And some people will look at that as arrogance, but it's ability.
But
That's all
is
comes
it
down
true?
to. Yeah, exactly.
But for me, give me someone that there's a fine line. And I heard Ronaldo talk about it between arrogance and confidence. To become great or to be great, like the people I mentioned, Ronaldo, you need to be a little bit crazy. You need to be a little bit arrogant. And that arrogance will come from a ridiculous and obscene work ethic that will outwork anyone. When you do that good, I think you can be arrogant personally, sorry.
No, without a doubt.
As long as you do it in a respectful and kind manner, not like I did when I was younger to Steve. And he still remembered that story. And when he told me, I said, Steve, I'm really sorry.
don't
man." He goes,
remember.
do you remember that? I go, no, but it sounds like something I would have done at that age. No doubt about it.
That's a good memory. Okay, I want to be respectful of your time, so this will be the last question.
Yep.
If, knock on wood, tomorrow you lost it all. You lost everything you've built up, but you've kept, obviously, your skill set, your experience. What would be the first thing you'd go and do to go build it all back?
Sales.
Sales.
Get back on the market. What do you need? Start selling. I mean, I've rebuilt it once and the divorce set me back many, 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 many years. But when I was sitting there looking at it, I thought, doesn't matter. You can do it. Roll up your sleeves and get it done. What's the worst that can happen?
If you can sell, you'll never go hungry.
If you can sell and market, they're the two best abilities or the best professions in the world. Put them anywhere, they'll be fine.
Sales cures all, I think Mark Cuban says.
Indeed.
All right, perfect, man. I want to thank you for taking the time to come down and have this chat with us. And I also want to commend you on something. Most people at your kind of caliber. So I reached out to you on LinkedIn. I've been following you for quite some time. I was like, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast. If you're open to it, you replied promptly. We exchanged details. And then I think you did something that most people wouldn't do. And you called me after I'd given you my phone number. And you said, hey, Robbie, it's Chris. And you can ask him. I walked into his office right after and I was like, hey, this guy called me, man. And I thought that is humility, that it's like a level of kindness that I think we need so much more of.
So
in the
much
world.
more.
You know what I mean? Especially you talk the whole sales. Like I know people who excel at sales and they won't even look. They would they'd be like, you got to come to, like, do you know who I am? That's the attitude they would have.
I might have
and I
had that
got
in the past.
The
Well,
18-year-old,
yeah.
the 19-year-old you.
But you didn't have that anymore. And I just want to commend you on that. That was, I literally walked into his office startled. And I was like, can you believe this? Like
I made a commitment. For me, whether it's me doing you a favor, whether it's a complaint or a new lead, I made a commitment. I'm going to see it through. I was on another gentleman's podcast and he said to me, same sort of thing like with your Steve story. He goes, Chris, do you remember I reached out to you 7 years ago and you responded straight away? I go, not really, man. And then he goes, and then you're here on my podcast. I said, oh yeah. And he ironically was a friend of a friend. So I've had many stories like that. But you know what it comes down to? We're all the same. It's a human to human. You wanted me on the podcast, happy to do it. I gave you my commitment. I want to get it done. Now it's out of my head. I'll move to the next one. But pick up the phone, mate. For me, it's always, whether I'm worth $1, 10 billion, that will be always the same.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, welcome and thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed the chat.
really, really appreciate it. If anyone wants to follow your journey, where can they follow you?
Anywhere, like LinkedIn, I'm on
All
all the
social
time.
platforms?
LinkedIn, Instagram, we post very, very regularly, 4 or 5 times a week. My team posts on my behalf, all my content. And Chris at Reventon, so I'd love to have a chat to anyone, get a copy of my book. 100% of the money goes to charity.
Books available on Amazon?
Your
Just on
path
that.
to wealth, brick by
Just
brick.
on that, do you want to give a shout out to your charities? You said you're into your philanthropy as well. Which charities are you involved with, or is it one that you do yourself?
I've been, for the last 8 years, I've been an ambassador for Vinnie's, St. Vincent de Paul, so I do the sleep out.
Yeah.
This year, so I started 171 years St. Vincent de Paul's has been going, 50 years of soup band's been going, 20 years the sleep out, 15 in Victoria. So it's very serendipitous. 20-year my anniversary, 20-year them. 8 years I've been doing it. I've raised $1,218,882, and we're the highest all-time fundraisers. I can only do that with my team. And that's something I'm very, very proud of. Every year I do the sleep out. So I've done 8. I just finished, I think it was the 19th of June. We slept at the South Melbourne car park rooftop. It was freezing, but it was very, very good. We raised $400,000 this year alone, so no one's ever done that in one campaign. And yeah, if there's anything to take away, do something kind for someone, do some charity, whether it's mine or someone else's, just do something. It's always good to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, mate. Amazing.
Thank you,
Cannot wait
gentlemen.
to have to keep following your journey, that's for sure, and also to one day have you back here and see how much more you've grown and come along the way.
Whenever you want. Thank you, boys.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Loved it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks, everyone.